Tonight's headlines. Police finally reveal a specific sniper warning.
Your children are not safe anywhere at any time.
Another massive dragnet fails as another person is shot dead. Also tonight, the case against Martha Stewart. It may cost her more than you think. A critical election is fast approaching, but much of the nation doesn't seem interested. And an Eye on America investigation. How safe is the blood supply? The answer could be critical to you.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. Among the new facts in the serial sniper case, there is this. With millions of people already living in fear, the situation just got a lot more frightening. After keeping it secret for 3 days, the police admitted today they have received a specific warning, presumably from the killer, about children. Here are more of the latest facts. The police now acknowledge that part of the 3-day-old message is, quote, your children are not safe anywhere at any time. You recall the sniper has already wounded one schoolchild. The police also say they've received another, newer message and will respond soon. All this comes as another person was shot dead today in Montgomery County, Maryland. It is there that we begin our CBS News coverage with Joey Chen. Joey?
Good evening, Dan. Yes, tonight police do try to continue their cryptic conversation with the killer, now known to them as a writer with an ominous message. He did seem reluctant to do it, but Chief Charles Moose, late this afternoon, released part of the contents of the longest communique police have received from the sniper, one found at the scene of Saturday night's shooting.
It is in the form of a postscript. Your children are not safe anywhere at any time.
The chief also said police had received another message from the killer.
We have received a communication. We will be responding soon.
These rapid developments came on a day that began with another killing, the 10th death in a series of shootings that has also left 3 people wounded. The sounds and sights of a massive manhunt jarred the suburban Washington community awake again. There was every sign that the sniper who began his deadly spree in this same neighborhood had returned. This time, the victim was a bus driver running through a checklist as he started his day. Today's attack took place almost 100 miles from the last killing linked to the sniper, a man walking to his car Saturday night after dining at a Ponderosa steakhouse in Ashland, Virginia. But it is within walking distance of some of the first crime scenes in Maryland's Montgomery County, where the deadly spree of sniper murders began 20 days ago. Once again today, the shooting took place near Woods. Within minutes, all traffic around the shooting scene was halted, a 5-mile radius that included early morning commuters along the busy Capitol Beltway. Armed officers stopped all cars, not just white vans or trucks. It was after the Saturday shooting that a call came in which launched what appears to be a flurry of communication between the killer and police. The caller, a man, sent police to a tree in the woods behind the restaurant. A 3-page note was tacked to the tree. Sources say it was poorly written with bad grammar and spelling. It demands money and made that general threat against the safety of children. As for the request for money, the Washington Post is reporting that the writer is asking for $10 million. Dan?
Joey Chen reporting live tonight from Rockville, Maryland. Thanks. Digging deeper into that letter, which police presume to be from the sniper, CBS News correspondent Jim Stewart has been working his sources on this and joins us from Washington. Jim, have the police picked up any other clues from the letter?
If they have, they aren't saying. We do know that when they found the letter where the sniper said it would be, forensics experts took an extremely long time to check the scene for other possible clues like fingerprints and fibers. They took so long, in fact, that by the time authorities actually read the letter itself, they discovered they were already behind the sniper's deadline to reply. It seems as if they've been trying ever since to get back in sync with the sniper's schedule. Dan?
Jim, what do the police make of the demand for money?
It's the biggest puzzle of all. Why would someone who claims they were God one week become an extortionist the next? The FBI has assembled virtually its entire behavioral science profiling unit to work on the case. They're closely studying the language in the letter. The grammar is so bad, there's even some suspicion that English may not be the first language of the suspect. Investigators admit, however, that the sniper may be just trying to trick them into thinking exactly that. Dan?
Jim Stewart reporting live from Washington. 13 separate shootings in 13 different locations, and each time the sniper makes a clean getaway. CBS's Jim Axelrod reports on the latest police tactics as they try to catch a killer.
Traffic is just unbelievable.
In suburban Washington, it's known simply now as the Plan.
You have DEA, you have FBI, you have local law enforcement.
A massive mobilization to cut off any escape. Before dawn, police fastened flashlights to rifles like bayonets and stopped traffic cold for miles, searching every car with a male driver.
Thank you.
What for now seems to be law enforcement's best bet is a tactic that depends entirely on response time.
I think the dragnet was very, very quick because I actually got caught up in it trying to get here.
A tactic that keeps coming up empty.
This is not no put down against the police, but obviously whomever or whoever is doing this, they have to know how to get from one place to other in a very fast manner.
Investigators with the Sniper Task Force say as soon as reports of a shooting come in, the roadblocks go up. They call it a grid shutdown. This morning, it sealed an area within 5 miles radius of the shooting scene. They say it seals the area completely within minutes, but so far, within minutes, hasn't been fast enough.
Roadblocks are very difficult for the police to use, again.
We showed criminologist Dennis Kenny this overview of today's crime scene. Even if police could shut down the web of potential escape routes, he says, there's this challenge. They don't know who they're looking for.
Sociopaths have the ability to appear, quite normal and quite engaging. The officers could actually have stopped the individual and talked to him and would never know.
That's if the sniper was driving at all. In an area of parks, woods, and paths, the shooter could have walked or biked away to resume hiding safely in plain view. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, Montgomery County, Maryland.
The latest shooting victim killed this morning in Maryland was a working man, 35-year-old Conrad Johnson. He was a bus driver for Montgomery County, Maryland. Johnson leaves a wife and 2 sons. The 37-year-old man wounded Saturday in Ashland, Virginia, where police found the letter from what's believed to be the sniper, remains in critical but stable condition at a Richmond hospital. The only child shot by the sniper so far, a 13-year-old middle school student from Bowie, Maryland, remains in the hospital in serious condition. At the United Nations today, U.S. diplomats insisted they are making progress toward a new Security Council resolution demanding that Iraq disarm. CBS News Chief White House correspondent John Roberts has seen the latest draft resolution from the Bush administration and reports it calls for imposing hard deadlines on Saddam Hussein for compliance. John Roberts has also seen a French counterproposal which would cut out such deadlines as well as gut other tough language sought by President Bush. In federal court in Buffalo, New York today, 6 U.S. citizens of Yemeni descent were arraigned on charges of supporting Osama bin Laden's international al-Qaeda terror network. They pleaded not guilty. The 6, whose families live in the Buffalo suburb of Lackawanna, are accused of traveling to Afghanistan in the spring of last year and training at an al-Qaeda camp. They are not charged with any role in the September 11th attacks or committing any other violent crime. A trial opened in Hamburg, Germany today for a man who is charged in the 9/11 plot. The 28-year-old Moroccan student is accused of aiding the al-Qaeda cell that planned and led the attacks. He admitted today that he trained at an al-Qaeda camp in Afghanistan, but denied any prior knowledge of 9/11. And in the Philippines today, police arrested 4 men as they unloaded 3 tons of ammonium nitrate, a fertilizer that is also a powerful explosive. Investigators in nearby Indonesia have determined that ammonium nitrate was used in the bomb that killed nearly 200 people there, including several Americans, on the island of Bali 10 days ago. A South Asian Muslim radical group linked to al-Qaeda is suspected in that Bali bombing. The U.S. State Department said today it is preparing to name that group Jamaah Islamiyah, a terrorist organization. Homemaking guru Martha Stewart's troubles are deepening. Government lawyers informed her that they are ready to charge her in an insider trading scandal. Stewart's lawyers reportedly have filed a response, but as CBS's Anthony Mason reports, that response does not seem likely to get her off the hook.
What do you say about the allegations here?
The Securities and Exchange Commission has sent Martha Stewart a final warning. It's called a Wells notice. Stewart has been given 30 days to respond to insider trading allegations or face fraud charges.
The SEC is telling Martha Stewart, we plan on filing a complaint against you.
Former SEC enforcement attorney Ron Geffner says that means charges are virtually inevitable.
I would think that they are, and I can't recall a case in my memory in which the respondent was capable of providing sufficient information to have the SEC change their mind.
The home decorating diva has emphatically denied she sold her ImClone shares on inside information, but her close friend and former ImClone CEO Sam Waxel has pleaded guilty to insider trading.
I've made some terrible mistakes, and I deeply regret what has happened.
Waxel has not fingered his friend.
Did you tip off Martha Stewart?
But this month, Douglas Faneuil, the assistant to Stewart's stockbroker, admitted he was paid to keep quiet and agreed to cooperate with authorities. Stewart has already resigned from the board of the New York Stock Exchange. If the SEC does charge her, she could face fines up to 3 times the loss she avoided, or nearly $150,000.
I think her main concern, though, isn't the fact that she's going to be subject to a fine. I think it's obviously the damage to her reputation in the marketplace and potentially her inability to serve as an officer or director of any other public company in the future.
Under federal securities laws, if a person is found to be substantially unfit, he or she can be barred from serving as an officer of a public company. That means Martha Stewart could be forced to resign from the company she created, the company that bears her name. Dan?
Well, Anthony, this is a civil case. Could there still be criminal charges down the road?
Dan, there could. The U.S. Attorney is also investigating this case, and the tricky part for Martha Stewart is that any information she may give to the SEC could well be used in that criminal case against her. Dan?
Anthony Mason, thanks. After 2 weeks of Wall Street rallies, investors took some profits today, and that sent prices lower. The Dow lost 88 points, the NASDAQ about 17. Coming up next here on the CBS Evening News, Eye on America. The Red Cross says the nation's blood supply is as safe as it's ever been. You may not find that so reassuring after
the CBS Evening News and tonight's Eye on America segment are sponsored by fast-acting Mylanta Supreme. Tastes great as it works.
There's new evidence tonight that the growing shortage of hospital nurses in this country is putting patients' lives at risk. A study finds the risk of dying after surgery jumps 14% if the nurse on duty has 6 patients to cover instead of 4. The death rate from complications soars 30% when the nurse has 8 beds to cover. Besides nurses, something else often in short supply is blood for transfusions. And now it turns out the blood that is available may not be as safe as you would hope. CBS's Cheryl Atkinson investigated for tonight's Eye on America.
During heart surgery 4 years ago, John, who doesn't want to be fully identified, needed a blood transfusion. With it, he got something he didn't bargain for: hepatitis C, a contagious disease that can cause serious liver damage and even death.
The blood you got had come from the Red Cross?
Yes, and they located 3 of the 4 donors of the blood that was infused into my body, and one of those donors tested positive for hepatitis C.
The risk of contaminated blood is one reason why the FDA is going to the mat with the Red Cross, which provides half of the nation's blood supply and has been violating blood safety laws for 17 years. Now, a federal judge is set to decide whether to slap the Red Cross with huge fines.
According to court documents, the Red Cross has repeatedly taken blood from donors with hepatitis and other diseases. In one of the worst cases, the Salt Lake City Red Cross took blood from hundreds of admittedly high-risk donors who had answered yes to questions like, do you have AIDS? Or have you ever tested positive for AIDS? In theory, those mistakes should be caught in the Red Cross's 6 layers of overlapping safety. And the FDA agrees blood tests are more accurate than ever, but has still found problems at every level. Infected blood mixed with safe blood, mislabeling and release of contaminated blood, HIV-positive blood lost and assumed distributed and used.
Each of these steps is important, and if one of them fails, it increases the chance that blood is going to be collected which is infected and possibly distributed.
Some of the Red Cross's own workers are disgusted by what they see on the job. One-time Bloodmobile manager Joe Zaller was fired after he persistently complained about unsafe practices.
I reached to the point where I could not sleep at night. The blood was going out, and I knew that it was not going to be in the condition that the FDA expected it to be.
Safe.
Yes, safe.
The Red Cross insists the blood supply is as safe as it's ever been. It's working cooperatively with the FDA, and only a tiny fraction of blood recipients will ever get a disease. Yet it's impossible to pinpoint the numbers because it turns out nobody's really counting. The Red Cross tracks infections but doesn't report them to anyone because it's not required to. Though the FDA and Red Cross investigated and confirmed John's case, there's no record of it at the Centers for Disease Control, which reports no such cases in 8 years.
How could you not be anywhere on record as a case of hepatitis C through blood transfusion?
People would rather that I just go away with the situation and be quiet, probably. And I don't think that I can.
And he wonders how many others are out there like him. In Washington, I'm Cheryl Atkinson for Eye on America.
Next on the CBS Evening News, 2 weeks to Election Day. High stakes, issues affecting your life. You'll see why you're hearing so little about that next. Just 2 weeks to Election Day, and a relatively few tight races could shift control of the U.S. Senate and the House. 36 states are electing governors. The outcome could have a big impact on your life and that of your children and grandchildren. Haven't heard much about the election? CBS's Bob Schieffer reports why you're not alone.
Tony Sanchez is running for governor of Texas, so he voted early. But the question is, will anyone else remember to vote? Tragedies overseas and the sniper story have buried campaign news. Nowhere more so than around Washington, where several hot Maryland races are getting almost no attention. The political pros don't know what to make of it.
This is the most precarious set of circumstances I've seen impacting politics, and you add that with the uncertainties over the economy in Iraq, it makes it sort of a crapshoot for predicting political outcomes.
It's about the same story around the rest of the country. Just look at these front pages on display at the site of a new journalism museum. Over and over, the nation's newspapers are off the campaign trail and onto the trail of the sniper. Ditto the story on television.
In addition to the sniper story, there was so much other news from Iraq, North Korea, and Bali that election news ranked a poor 10th among stories that garnered time on national television last week. That comes as another study showed new evidence that campaign news is disappearing from many local stations. Researchers surveyed 2,400 local broadcasts and discovered only about a third reported any campaign news between mid-September and early October.
I'm here to ask you to turn out the vote.
From the president on down, both parties have been trying, but with the other news so overwhelming, voters are just having a hard time getting interested.
People are not paying attention.
It's not really a high priority at the moment.
Whatever the case, most of what voters learn about this campaign will come from commercials like these.
He needs to keep his hands off my Social Security.
And there are more than ever clogging the air. So many that campaign ad spending will top $1 billion for the first time ever. Bob Schieffer, CBS News, Washington.
The National Audubon Society said today more than a quarter of bird species in America are in decline or in trouble. About 200 bird species are on the watch list. The ones in the most serious trouble are shoreline birds. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, Affairs of the Heart, how you can make your heart healthier. We end tonight with news, real news about improving your health. A new UCLA study indicates you can significantly reduce the risk of heart disease in just 3 weeks by switching to a high-fiber, low-fat diet and getting moderate exercise. A Harvard study points out the kinds of exercise that might work best. Men who ran an hour or more per week reduced their risk of heart disease by more than 40%. Weight training for half an hour or more per week cut the risk more than 20%. And rowing an hour or more each week lowered the risk of heart disease to just under 20%. That's about the same as taking a brisk walk 30 minutes a day. News that matters to your health and heart. Part of our world tonight. You should know that CBS News is monitoring developments closely in the serial sniper case. We'll be back on the air this evening with any major changes, so stay with this CBS News station. For right now, Dan Rather reporting for News That Matters on the CBS Evening News. Thank you for joining us. We invite you to tune us in again tomorrow night, and we'll be standing by tonight in case there are any developments in the sniper case. Good night, everybody.
For news 24 hours a day, go to cbsnews.com. AOL keyword CBS News.